Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're going to be talking about the spell Wall of Force. All right. You're a fan of this one, Sam?
As much of a fan of wall spells as I get. This,
Yeah.
I think this is the best one. It's kind of
One.
yeah. I mean, like the damage ones are better at doing damage, obviously.
Sure.
But this does the thing that I would want a lot of. Like, if I just need a wall for some reason, this is a wall.
Yeah, this is a
and
wall.
It's the best one at being a wall. So
yeah, well, it's definitely one end of the spectrum that we discussed.
Yes, where Wall of Ice is definitely on the high damage, and Wall of Fire is definitely on the high damage. This is just the high utility. That's all this is.
All right, this does no damage, correct?
0 damage. This is a it can be free floating solid surface. You can put this wherever you want. It can makes a dome with a radius of 10 feet, which means you can have a giant invincible hamster ball. That's my favorite use of it. Or you can make 10 foot by 10 foot panels of indestructibility, basically.
It's completely impenetrable short of a disintegrate spell.
Or dispel magic, yes.
No.
I'm sorry. It even says can't be dispelled by dispel magic. You're right. So yeah, it also blocks things on the ethereal. So when we're talking about etherealness, hey, if you're looking for another solution, Wall of Force, I guess. Although you can really only use it as the sphere then, because you can always just ethereal around it. So this only is a ball when you're talking about protecting against etherealness. Or you have a lot of them, one of the two. In any case, yeah. So you said you were not that excited about this spell. Is there any reason?
Because it's a fucking wall.
It is just a wall.
Yeah.
Does the giant invincible hamster ball not excite you?
No, I mean, that's cool, I guess. But I mean, it feels kind of limited.
This is a spell that you'll definitely get this is, if you like Wall of Stone for its non-world building elements, which I don't think you do, Bob. I don't think you like Wall of Stone for its practical applications.
I'm single-minded in my loving of Wall of Stone.
Sure. Then
Wall of Force, there's no permanence.
Yes. But you do get the indestructible version of Wall of Stone, which I think is very cool. This is you can make, and it also helps that it's invisible, which can lead to some really funny moments where you put this in front of an airship and it just plows into it. You put this in front of a boat and it just plows right into it. You can put this in any number of places within 120 feet of you, and the wall's not moving. It's an immovable force that is certainly going to cause some problems. You got some Aarakocra or whatever, some flying creatures and demons flying at you. You just be like, Wall of Force, and they just slam right into it and plummet to the ground.
Like mosquitoes.
I think that's very funny.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. It could also be cool, like, you're talking about castle sieges. It's not permanent, but during the siege, you can have multiple wizards casting Wall of Force congruent to the actual stone walls of the castle. That's neat.
If you have a lot of them. Thinking about the logistics of what happens when you have two armies composed of 9th level or higher wizards, my brain starts to melt, because the measures and countermeasures to the countermeasures just becomes this ludicrous, ridiculous. What can we all do and what can't we do? We have polymorph at our disposal. We have banishment at our disposal. We have dispel magic. We have counterspell. We have Wall of Force. We have prismatic. You get some pretty the escalation of what warfare looks like with D&D 5e magic. It hurts to try and conceptualize to me. So I tend to ignore it entirely and just pretend that it doesn't affect it at all, and that people don't spam fireball like it's Vietnam. So that's where I land as far as trying to use it in that instance. I think honestly, if you are a DM and like that kind of thing, it can be a very fun exercise for your noggin, but I think going to quickly run into the problem of, oh god, magic really makes warfare absurd. So that's something to be worried about.
It'd be a fun exercise to watch two people who wanted to do it do it.
Agreed. In a different edition than this that does it better, because there are games built to do that, and it's pretty cool. Go play.
No, I mean that's a different thing. I'm talking about this edition. Okay. Yeah, we've both made it clear we don't want to do it. I'm saying two people who want to do it, let them go at it, and I will watch what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. In the player hands, though, in using this as a player tool, I think that if you really want the wall experience, which is a weird thing to say, but this is the wall experience at its finest. This is figuring out ways to cleverly use walls to block enemy passage, to give yourself utility of like floating platforms and whatnot, to give yourself ramps or cut off flowing water, right? Like hypothetically, you can stop a river from flowing this and it just floods an area, and how that affects physics I do not know. Whether the rocks around it will hold, it's a lot of pressure, but you can do some pretty wacky world building, or not world building, but like environment shaping stuff with a just like 310 by 10, like a giant panel of this stuff, and that's what I love about it. I think this is a spell that like it takes the utility of it and just says, what if this is as good as it gets, and it's 6 at 5th level. And the things you can do can be really powerful, right? Like if you stick a goblin in an invulnerable sphere, what is it going to do?
Wait,
right?
10 minutes.
Exactly. And that's, you can put a lot of things in here. You
just
can
stick a Tarask in there, and
sure.
that's when you use Wind Walk.
Yeah, correct. GTFO. I don't know if the Tarask would fit, but you'd have to do the math. Probably not. Yeah. Because this isn't that big of an area, but it is similar to Globe of Invulnerability in a lot of ways. It's kind of like a build your own Globe of Invulnerability if you want to sometimes. You also have to like, well, I said you can use it as a giant hamster ball, and I would absolutely rule it that you can. I think it would just be a sphere that floats there, like rules is written. But that's so much less fun than taking your rogue and sticking them in a giant invulnerable hamster ball and having them go wreak havoc on things. I think that's way cooler. But also, not for everybody. This is definitely a spell that your mileage will vary, and it will be absolutely between how much your DM is willing to give and how creative you are with it. And that's definitely like the merit of a spell I really love.
All right. Well, I've got to step up from what you said before. And you're talking about airships and like actual like boat ships, slamming into the wall. But this wall is only a 1/4 of an inch thick.
Yeah.
If you put it horizontal with that stuff coming at it, you're destroying those things.
Yeah. Yep. You're carving very large holes because they're going pretty quick, and that is a very thin needle, basically, that's just going to slice this thing up. Yeah, that's super cool. See, again, creative use of a really fun spell that has a lot of bigger implications, I think, than a lot of people realize. And when you really start to go into how good is an indestructible, very thin wall, it's very good. The immovable object, you get one of those, and you get a big one of those, and you can do some wacky stuff with that.
Oh yeah, the immovable rod.
Yeah,
I used that in one of my books.
Mm-hmm. What have you had?
I won't say how. No spoilers. But
I'm nervous as to how it was used, to be perfectly honest.
It wasn't too far from that boat thing I was just talking about.
Oh, okay. All right. Sure.
But yeah. Caverns and Creatures. Go pick them up now.
Mm-hmm. For sale on the Caverns and Creatures website, where you can find spell reviews that will lead you to these delightful books that Bob has written and his poured his soul into that are hilarious. You'll have a great time. We always be plugging. Always be plugging, right?
Yeah. All right. Well, back to Wall of Force. We got anything else to say about it? It's
it's hard to really say like exactly how powerful it is, because again, there'll be some people that take Wall of Force and go, when would I ever use this? Is just a wall. Why do I need a wall here? And the other people that like will think about it as this is an immovable plane that I can do a bunch of different stuff with and try and juice every single moment out of it. There'll be the players like me that will be like, I love Wall of Force. I'm going to be using Wall of Force every moment I possibly can get if my DM lets me. And in that situation, it can be one of those really annoying, like, oh my God, we're doing another Wall of Force thing. I have to do another immovable object and I have to somehow circumnavigate it. And then the game just starts loading everything with Disintegrate, and it's just like, we're dealing with this problem one way or another. It is very powerful. I definitely think it's the best out of all of the walls. I really wish I referenced it more when talking to the other ones, because they're all worse than this, which I think is part of the reason why I gave them like 3s. But this isn't so busted that it's going to like completely change the game forever. This isn't something that you're going to have to like reconsider how you run every encounter for the rest of time, because it is a fairly fixed area and there are going to be ways you can circumnavigate.
All right. Wall of Force. You got a Sam score?
I think this is a 4 out of 5. I want to give it a
5?
5, but I do not think it is that good. It is very
I
good.
was gonna give it a 4 out of 5 in the expectation that you were going to give it a 5 out of 5.
Oh,
I'm just thinking it's not Wall of Stone.
that's
So,
always the back of your head. It's not
4
Wall
out
of
of
Stone.
5. Yeah. All right. Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, there's lots of stuff you can do with it.
Yeah.
I'm sure lots of like fabricate and the other ones that we've gotten some comments on. There's stuff that we have not covered in this video. Feel free to leave those in the comments.
Yeah. Some really cool ways to use this really cool spell.
Yeah. And yeah, you leave enough comments, we might revisit this one.
Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Well, that was Wall of Force. Thank you, Sam. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, informative, or entertaining, I'd really appreciate it if you hit the like button below. You needn't smash it. A gentle tap will suffice. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to the channel. And make sure you check out the links in the description where you'll find my Caverns and Creatures series of comedy fantasy novels, Sam's full review of the spell, and other fun things.